Hello everyone. Today we'll learn the operation technology of plate butt welding in the vertical position with one side welding both sides formation. Through this class, we should achieve the following teaching objectives. Able to master operating essentials of the welding position. Able to develop assembly welding scheme. Able to select the welding parameter. Able to weld qualified welds according to the requirements of welding safety, cleanliness, environment, and the welding process. Able to inspect the appearance of welds. Let's analyze the construction joints. From the construction joints, we can see the pieces consist of two Q235 steel plates, which size is delta 12 times 300 times 100 millimeters. The weld root gap is 3.2 to 4 millimeters. The root face is 0.5 to 1 millimeter. The groove angle is 60 degrees. Now let's analyze the work tasks. In vertical welding, the weld pool under the action of arc blowing force and the gravity of molten metal is easy to produce defects such as overlap or weld ultra high. Because the base material thickness is 12 millimeters, there are 4 weld layers needed. 1 backing weld layer, 2 filling weld layers, and 1 covering weld layer. The specimen's material is Q235A. The E5015 electrode with better process performance is selected, which diameter is 3.2 millimeters. The power polarity is DCRP. In order to weld qualified welds, a reasonable welding process must be developed. Next, we'll learn the specific operation processes and welding methods through welding preparation, fabrication, backing, filling, covering, and inspection. We must make full preparation before welding operation. Firstly, perform security check. Ensure labor protection equipment is properly worn and in good condition. Clean up the work site and make sure there is no inflammable and explosive articles. Secondly, prepare welding machine. Check whether welding machine cable, welding bar wire, welding clamp are properly connected and then debug them. Thirdly, prepare auxiliary tools. Prepare tools such as grinders, slack hammers, chisels, files, wire brushes, straight steel rulers, vernier calipers, and weld inspection rulers. Fourthly, prepare specimens preparation. Check the size of the specimens according to the drawing. Polish the specimen bevel to ensure that there is no water, oil, rust, and other impurities within 20 millimeters of the bevel and each side. Expose the metallic luster. Lastly, prepare welding materials. Prepare E5015 electrodes with diameters of 3.2 millimeters and 4 millimeters respectively. Next, assemble the specimens. Firstly, groove specimens. Put the specimens with finished groove on the assembly platform to check the flatness of the specimens and the matching of groove. Secondly, adjust welding current to 110 to 120 A. Thirdly, precision welding. Determine the beginning gap is 3.2 millimeters with phi 3.2 electrode core diameter. Determine the terminal clearance is 4 millimeters with phi 4.0 electrode core diameter. Fix the weld length 10 to 15 millimeters. Arc extinguishing method is adopted to point and fix from the inside of the groove, and the staggered edge quantity is controlled within 1 millimeter. The reserved inverse deformation angle alpha is 3 to 5 degrees. Now let's learn how to weld the bottom layer. Adjust welding current to 110 to 120 A. The assembled specimens are placed horizontally on the tooling, and the side with small clearance is placed at the bottom, and the welding is performed from the bottom to up. The method of the backing welding can be arc extinguish method or continuous arc method. Take the arc extinguish method as an example. When welding, The included angle between electrode and the horizontal direction is 90 degrees. Meanwhile, the angle between the vertical direction is 80 to 85 degrees. Arc is initiated at the bottom of the weld and pulled to tail of the positioned weld to preheat. A straight line or crescent transport stripe method is used to make 1/3 of the arc act on the molten pool and 2/3 penetrate to the back. When the sound of arc penetration is heard on the back, the arc is extinguished immediately, and an obvious melting hole is formed. Ensure that the size of the melt hole is the same each time the arc is extinguished, and the arc quenching frequency is controlled 50 to 60 times per time. After the backing welding, clean up the weld with a steel wire brush and ballast hammer. This is the specimen after backing welding. Okay, let's learn how to weld the filler layers. The first thing is to adjust the welding current to 115 to 125 A. When welding, the angle of the electrode inclines 10 degrees to 15 degrees lower than that of the bottom layer. And the zigzag or crescent-shaped stripe method is used to swing around. When swinging the middle polarization of the weld, the speed is slightly faster. And when swinging to both sides of the edge of the groove, it stops slightly. Pay attention to distinguish the molten pool and slag and control the shape, size, and temperature of the molten pool. Weld bead shall be flat or concave. The welding seam of the filling layer should be 1 to 1.5 millimeters lower than the groove surface, leaving a certain allowance for the welding of the cover layer. After the filling welding, clean up the weld with a steel wire brush and a ballast hammer. This is the specimen after filling welding. Next, we carry out the last step welding operation, the cover layer welding. Firstly, adjust the welding current to 105 to 115 A. The method of covering the surface layer is consistent with the filling layer, but the welding rod, swing amplitude, and spacing are required to be more uniform and consistent when transporting the stripe. The arc is slightly lower and paused at the edge of the groove to prevent edge biting and make the weld shape more neat and beautiful. After covering welding, clean up the weld with a steel wire brush and a ballast hammer, but cannot destroy the original surface of the weld. This is the specimen after covering welding. The keys of butt vertical welding of plate are the following 2 points, which shall be paid attention to. Firstly, control the rhythm of the stripe. Wrist swing to keep consistent. Secondly, pay attention to the electrode swing speed. Fast in the middle of the weld, slow and slightly paused on both sides. After practice, we should organize tools and equipment, turn off the power, clean up the work site, and write welding records. At last, inspect its appearance. According to the scoring standard, the self-inspection, mutual inspection, and special inspection shall be carried out one by one to the height of the front and back welds, height difference, width difference, undercut, staggered edge amount, deformation, mechanical damage or arc abrasion, failure to fuse, surface slag inclusion, surface porosity, cracks, and so on. Through the above learning, I believe that you have a basic understanding of the operation project. Want to weld high-quality welds? You must be diligent in practice and keep exploring, thinking, and summarizing during practice. That's all for today. Thank you.